What would you say if I told you that your thinking could be the main cause of you not seeing the types of outcomes you want from life? And how about if I said that what you believe about yourself has a huge impact on your success or failure? For some, this may seem obvious, yet some of these same people continue to struggle because of not addressing the obvious thing: their mindset. In this video, I'm going to look at what mindset is, touch on its potential impact, and I'm also going to suggest 3 steps that you can take if you want to change your mindset for the better. So let's dive in. I'm Nick, and I'm a husband, dad, pops, registered counselor, and a certified coach. And on this channel, I share ideas and practical tools designed to help you manage and succeed in life. If, like me, you're committed to your personal development and you want to take steps to living your best life, then guess what? I've got you covered. So subscribe, like, leave a comment, and make sure to click on the bell icon to be notified of any future videos. But before we get into it, if as part of your development you'd like to get super clear on how you want your life to look in the next few years, then download my free 5-step guide to creating your ideal future. I'll put a link to it in the description. You've probably come across people who seem to have no problem with approaching new tasks or doing new things or getting stuck into challenges or tasks that many people might avoid. They're the kind of people who seem to get excited and enthusiastic about fresh opportunities and walk towards them with a sense of confidence and self-belief. In contrast, you'll almost certainly know people who appear to be stuck in a rut and sometimes lacking in motivation to try anything new. With this group of people, it also wouldn't be uncommon for them to have good reasons for turning down a potentially challenging opportunity. The difference between the two will undoubtedly be linked to one thing: mindset. So that said, let's look at what mindset is, how it has the potential to impact your life, and consider 3 strategies for changing your mindset, which could lead to you improving your well-being and having more success in life. Okay, so firstly, what is mindset? Your mindset is a set of beliefs that influence your view of yourself and the world around you. And it's powerful because it affects the way you think, feel, and function on a day-to-day basis. Though there are others, Stanford University psychologist Carol Dweck defines 2 types of mindset: fixed and growth. By her definition, if you have a fixed mindset, you'll believe that your abilities are innate and unchangeable traits. With a fixed mindset, you'll tend to find failure or mistakes unsettling. This is because with a fixed mindset, you'll believe your abilities can't be changed, and as a result, will doubt your potential to make improvements or get better at anything you put in your mind to. On the flip side, if you have a growth mindset, you'll see failure as a sign of what you need to work on, and you'll also have a belief that with persistence and effort, you'll be able to improve your abilities. Put differently, if you have a fixed mindset, you'll probably focus on avoiding mistakes. Whereas with a growth mindset, you'll almost certainly be excited about what you might discover through making mistakes and even failing on occasion. What's the impact of mindset? The type of mindset you have will be key to how you navigate life. If you've developed a growth mindset, you're much more likely to place a high value on learning, effort, and hard work. If you happen to have a fixed mindset, however, you'll be more likely to give up at the slightest sign of difficulty, find excuses to justify your decisions, and you'll likely become defensive when people offer you feedback. The impact of mindset is huge. It will either help you spot opportunities and embrace the growth that comes through challenge, or it will keep you stuck in the rut of unhelpful patterns of thinking and behavior. So having looked at what mindset is and its potential impact, let's consider just 3 strategies for moving from having a fixed mindset to a growth mindset, which could help you break free from self-defeating thinking and behavior and lead to improved well-being and a more fulfilled life. Number 1, focus on the process more than the end goal. Having a clear goal is great as it has the potential to keep you focused, motivated, and disciplined. However, when fixated on the ideal outcome, you run the risk of missing out on all the learning that comes with your journey towards the goal, towards the outcome. One way to develop a growth mindset is to place really high value on what you're learning along the way. For example, though several years ago now I achieved the goal of completing a half marathon, what I learned through my preparation was invaluable, because though I completed my goal, what I discovered about the importance of pacing myself is something I've been able to actually transfer to different aspects of my life. Had I only focused on the end goal of completing the half marathon, I'd have missed out on an invaluable life lesson. Right, before we move on to the last 2 strategies for moving from having a fixed mindset to a growth mindset, please let me know if you're finding value in this video by clicking the like button. Number 2, become aware of your thoughts and words. Another way to move from having a fixed mindset to a growth mindset is to start paying attention to your thoughts and your words. This is because unhelpful thinking patterns, also known as cognitive distortions, can reinforce feelings of not being good enough. Though there are several types of cognitive distortions, some of the more popular ones include all or nothing thinking, overgeneralization, and mind reading. All or nothing thinking involves seeing things in extremes. If you're convinced that you're either doomed to fail or destined to succeed, then you're probably someone who engages in all or nothing thinking. Overgeneralization involves pinning the outcome of one negative experience onto all future events. In other words, it assumes history will repeat itself. For example, you might say something like, I failed the last test, I know I'm going to fail again. Mind reading is just that. It involves making assumptions about what other people are thinking based on your own beliefs or fears. An example of this would be convincing yourself that someone doesn't like you simply because they disagree with your opinion. If you recognize any of these types of thinking in yourself, a helpful way to deal with them is to question how true they are and then replace them with something more helpful. For example, coming to the realization that most things aren't as simple as black and white, and that reality tends to sit somewhere in the gray area or in the middle of two extremes, will actually help you manage all or nothing thinking. Another example would be replacing things like, I failed the last test, I know I'm going to fail again, with things like, although I failed the last test, with better preparation, I have a good chance of passing this time around. Both approaches can help you with managing your thoughts and words and in your efforts to develop a growth mindset. Number 3, take on new challenges. My third suggestion for moving from having a fixed mindset to a growth mindset is to try new things. Try things that push you out of your comfort zone, that challenge you, and that cause you to make mistakes and even get things wrong. Without being willing to make mistakes and experience failure, you'll likely remain stuck where you are and run the risk of missing out on opportunities to build resilience and discover new insights. And really importantly, from a growth mindset perspective, making mistakes has got to be one of the best ways you can learn. So instead of avoiding challenging opportunities, if you really want to develop a growth mindset, you'll benefit from embracing discomfort and failure and making mistakes. Right, there you have it. 3 strategies to help you move from having a fixed mindset to a growth mindset, which could lead to improved well-being and seeing more success in your life. Let's recap. Firstly, place value on the process of learning rather than solely on outcomes. Secondly, be aware of unhelpful thinking patterns and change them when needed. And thirdly, try new things and expect to gain insights from failure and mistakes. Mindsets are incredibly powerful and have the potential to hold you back from enjoying a meaningful life. But having said that, it's equally important to remember that even with a slight shift in mindset, you'll have the opportunity to transform your life for the better. Okay, we've reached the end of this video, so here's a quick question for you before we finish. What first step might you take to improve your mindset? I'd love to hear from you, so take a moment to share in the comments. Also, if you found this video helpful, please click the like button, subscribe, and click on the bell icon to be notified of future videos. Thank you so much for watching, rooting for you, be well.